So I thought this time I'd talk a bit about public speaking. So I've done a bit recently. I spoke at NDC and also at Azure Oxford, and so I hadn't done a lot of public speaking before this, and I was quite nervous about the whole thing. And so I thought I'd share a couple of things which helped with the nerves and with the preparation of the talk. So I guess the first thing is really doing a lot of prep. So for me, that meant writing a whole script and repeatedly writing that out over and over again until I knew the whole thing off by heart. But I know that's not the way everyone prepares. I know a lot of other people at Engine like to do things a bit more off the cuff. But I think the main thing is to feel really, really comfortable with the material you're presenting, because it means that at that point you can concentrate on the delivery of the material rather than sort of what you're going to say. I think that's really important for delivering a good speech, but also for being able to relax a bit and not spend your whole time worrying about not being able to remember what you're about to talk about. So and I think another thing that sort of goes along with the same kind of thing is to feel comfortable in what you're doing. It's good to know that you have a fallback. So if things go wrong, it can be helpful to have a sort of an outline of the talk in front of you, so that you know that if you do get lost or stuck, you can just glance at that and find where you're meant to be. The other thing is, if you're doing live demos, it's really comforting to have a copy of the demo recorded, so that when things don't work, you can fall back onto that. And I've experienced this myself. I went to do my first live demo in the talk, and Postman instantly froze with absolutely no hope of coming back. So quickly was able to switch directly over to the video and carry on. It's also a really good idea to have a sort of idea of the timings of the talk, because if you're spending the whole time that you're speaking worrying about if you've taken too much time, if you're going too slowly, or if you're speaking way too fast, as I'm known to do, it means that it's distracting from the concentration on the actual what you're saying and what you're speaking about and how you're saying it. So it's good to have a vague outline of what timings you expect, and also to have the time really clearly and easily accessible in front of you, so that you don't have to in any way concentrate on, oh, what's the time now? So you can just glance at it, know where you are, and know where about you're supposed to be. I think alongside the preparation of the timings and the outline and that, it's really good if you can to practice in front of a live audience, because there's really no substitute for doing it in front of a live audience and getting an idea of how quickly you'll speak under a little bit of pressure, what parts of the talk are a bit juttery, and which parts of the talk you need to work on a bit more. And I think a live audience really helps that, because it adds a pressure in a way that it's hard to do not in that situation. But if you can't do that, then a really good substitute is to record yourself, because it adds a little bit of that pressure, and it also means that you can listen back to the talk and work out, oh, I was stumbling a bit there, or oh, I went a bit fast there, I wasn't very clear there, and it gives you a really easy and good idea of which parts of the talk you need a bit more work. Finally, I think there's something that Ian Griffiths, who's a technical fellow at Engine, said to me in the run-up to the talk, was the fact that it's all a performance. So I think I've done a little bit of acting way back in the day, and I never got as nervous as I did before the idea of public speaking. And I think the idea that a public speaking event is really just another type of performance. You're putting on, you're presenting yourself in a way that is getting into character as someone who's confident and knows exactly what they're talking about. And the idea of it as a performance, and the preparation of knowing what you're going to say, is actually just the same as knowing your lines. If you know your lines for an acting performance, then you are focused entirely on how you deliver those lines. And it's the same with a public speaking performance. It's about knowing off by heart the material, so that you can concentrate entirely on delivering those lines in a way that's engaging, in a way that makes sense to other people in the room. I know, so that's my 5 things. But the last thing really that Ian said to me was, you're supposed to enjoy it. And really at the time I was like, there's absolutely no way that's going to happen. I'm way too nervous to think about enjoying any of this. But I think the idea that actually this should be something that isn't horrible is an important one, because it is something that, you know what you're talking about, and you are... And conveying your ideas to a room full of people, or just conveying your ideas to other people, is a really enjoyable thing. It's just that the pressure of it makes it a lot harder to remember that. And I think trying to keep that in mind when giving a performance is really, or giving a performance or a public speaking performance, is a really important thing to do. Anyway, hope this helps someone.